Hi, everybody. It's the Empowered Target. So, beautiful day today. I love this fall weather. It's just like in the mid 70s, and the skies are crystal blue and clear, and it's just beautiful out. It's warm enough where you can still wear like short sleeves and shorts if you want. I mean, I love this weather, but I am ready for colder weather. So, I think I've mentioned in other videos how I am being forced out of my home and my community. And I've lived in my home for 20 years, and I'm an avid walker. So even though I don't know a lot of people in this neighborhood, I'm visible. They've seen me. And it used to be before I was targeted that I'd walk by and I would just wave to people and they would wave back. And, everything was chill and good and no issues. And then when I was targeted, it was completely different. So I made a video before about baiting, the setup, I think I called it. But it's really baiting. And I am being baited left and right. And they're desperate to get me to react because, all of your reactions to certain stimuli are recorded. So I try my best to just ignore what I can. But something happened today that was very interesting. And it really kind of confirms what I've been talking about, what I've been posting, and the world that we live in today. Now, I was raised to believe that you respect your elders. And a lot of the manners and stuff that I was taught was basically to make my mom and dad look good. They didn't want to be embarrassed by obnoxious, badly behaved children. So it was really about trying to make them look like they were good parents. Don't act out in public was really the way it is. But there was also, it was very, you have to respect your elders. I was taught that from a very young age, and I've always, respected authority, and I always respected my elders, and that's just the way I was raised. So I was taking a walk, and as you all know, I oftentimes record while I'm walking. It's very difficult for me to record in my backyard because of the noise and the lack of privacy and all of that. So I'll just record when I'm walking. And there's a house towards the end of the street before I left the neighborhood that every time I walk towards that house, two teenage boys would come running outside and play football. They'd just start throwing the football as soon as they saw me. And I knew what was going on, and I ignored it. It was no big deal. So this morning, same thing happened. I was walking towards the house. Immediately, the two boys came outside and started throwing the football. And so I wasn't recording. I was just holding up my phone. And I was actually listening to something that I had recorded earlier. And as soon as I saw them, I just kind of made a comment under my breath about how the kids in the neighborhood are bullies also. Because what I was listening to was talking about the way I'm being bullied and, the way people behave. So one of the kids just opened his mouth to me. I mean, opened his mouth. Well, I have learned to ignore. I will not let them bait me. I will not let them push my buttons. I just kept on walking and completely ignored. And he just kept getting louder and louder and louder. But not once was I recording. I was actually listening to something. So I went on my walk, and on my way back, they were outside playing football and mouthing off to me. But this time, Mom was sitting on the porch and kind of holding her phone up. And I was just looking at her, and she started opening her mouth. Now I know where her son got his mouth. She started opening her mouth to me. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Don't record my sons. I'm like, holy shit. What is happening here? So I knew that they were being very aggressive. And when people are aggressive like that, it's because they have a lot to hide. They're trying to victim blame, which is shift the blame from their bad behavior to my bad behavior. and make it look like I'm the guilty party when I'm just walking by. I'm just walking by. And I still wasn't recording. I was just listening to something. And I'm minding my own business. So I was watching her, and I was trying to figure out, is she recording me? What's she doing? But I was just looking at her, and I never said a word. Well, all of a sudden, her and her 2 teenage sons follow me to my house. And she's like, well, I'm on calling the police. I'm like, I'm still trying to figure out what I did wrong. I'm like, holy shit. And this isn't the first time that someone has made up a story to call the police, and it's them that's committing the crime. So it was just another one of those situations where they're committing the crime. So I could hear them behind me, and she's just going on and on and on to the police. And hopefully this police officer's going, lady, you need to take a pill or something. So I decided to stop and turn around and try to have an adult conversation with her. And so I stopped and I said, I am not, nor did I ever record your sons. I wasn't recording anything. And then her son came in with this big mouth and started calling me an old, ugly C word. I won't even say it. And how I discriminate against everybody. I mean, just pulling stuff out of the air. I'm just standing there going, are you kidding me? Nothing could be further from the truth. And I've never met you, little boy. Where did this come from, right? So this is the setup. This is how they try to bait you. So, you know, it was not possible to have an adult conversation with her. She was looking for trouble, and when you look for trouble, you're going to find it. The person on the other end of her phone could hear this kid mouthing off to me, calling me old and ugly, which is, it's discrimination. That's age discrimination. And I've never met this kid before in my life. Never had a run-in, never did anything to them, as usual. But when you're targeted, you know, they're going to pin everything on you. They're looking for reasons to come after me, right? So I was expecting the police to show up, and they never did, which is a good thing because I think they understood. At one point, the mother was trying, I mean, this kid was coming after me, and I'm just standing there, and I very calmly said, are you paranoid? Is there something wrong with you? Do you have something to hide? Because the veracity of his anger towards a woman that not only wasn't recording him, but has never met him before, it was completely irrational. This kid was out of control. So that told me that he had something to hide. And it also told me something else when he started mouthing off about me discriminating. I'm like, what? We've never met. So that proved that they can see me inside my house, that they're watching me. Because he doesn't know me. I have never, I mean, aside from the fact that every time I walk by, they come outside to play football, I don't say a word to them. Nothing. I ignore them. I had one conversation, I think it was with their daughter, and it was her brake light was out. So as she was backing up, as I was walking by, I waved her down and I said, did you know that your brake light is out? She goes, oh yeah. I'm like, okay, that's all I needed. That's it. But that was the exchange. That was it. So, you know, I'm going to tell you something about today's world and narcissism. And I have to keep bringing up narcissism because there must be a playbook, because they all do the same thing. They all do the same thing. I mean, they are cookie cutters of each other. They are constantly trying to divert the attention away from their bad behavior and blame the victim. But there's something else that goes along with that, and that's called a confession. So when this kid was just blabbing off about all these horrible things about me, the first confession is, why do you hate this woman? You've never met her before. What could possibly be wrong? And just so everybody knows, even if I were recording him, that's not against the law. So this guy he had something to hide, right? He was trying to intimidate me, because that's another tactic they use, is they get real aggressive and in your face to try to intimidate you into being afraid of them so you'll back down. Well, that didn't work with me, and it never has. I just calmly stayed in one place, let him just go off and say these horrible things that no parent should ever let their children say. Right? And I stayed calm the whole time. And then I walked away because I was like, whoa. These are some messed up people that are trying to cause some trouble. Big time trouble. But the confession. So a projection is when you actually blame the other person for something you are guilty of. Confession is pretty much the same thing. It's the same thing as projection. So that's what he was doing. He was confessing his guilt. Because when you go off on somebody for absolutely no reason and it's so irrational and so out of place, that's a confession. But, also the lack of respect. To call me an ugly old woman. It was uncalled for. And if that were my son, I'd be embarrassed. I'd be ashamed. I wouldn't let my kid get away with that. Never. But that's the world we live in today, where there's just bad parenting. That's what it boils down to. That's why we have so many spoiled brats. That's why these kids behave so badly, because their parents set bad examples for them. This woman acted like a complete jackass to follow me when I did absolutely nothing. I mean, the degree of anger she had towards someone she's never met, doesn't know. So there's more to it, and it goes deeper than that. And really what she was doing was confessing that, we're afraid. We've got something to hide, and so we're going to come after you if we think you're recording us. Because there have been times when I've had to record people for my own safety and for proof of their harassment. And again, the police know it's not illegal to record somebody, especially if you're behaving badly. You want to get it on film. That's what your phone is for. So when somebody has a reaction to it like that, you know that they've got something to hide. It's a level of insanity. It's crazy. But I am grateful to the police for not even dealing with it, because I know that they could hear what was happening. And if they had stopped by, I would have been more than happy to talk to them. I've got nothing to hide. Zero. And they know that. So I think the aggression came from, they can hear me, because I say things inside my house knowing that they're listening. And that kind of proved something. But it was uncalled for, and I've never seen that in my life. I've never seen that kind of behavior. And it's just, I'm from a different generation, and I feel sorry actually for the children that have parents that think that kind of treatment of another human being is okay. But I have maintained all along that these people in this neighborhood bully their way through lives. Through life. And they're all bullies. They're just bullies. And that's how they get by. They just bully people. So I just wanted to record that, and I wanted to share that with everybody, because that's part of the vigilantism, and that's part of forcing me out of my home. And it's happened probably 4 times now, where I've done nothing but pull out my phone and record when someone's behaving badly. And they call the police on me, and then they make up lies. It's, the police know me. They've known me for many years. They also know my situation. So, again, I have nothing to hide. I will talk to the police at any time. But the one thing that I need to emphasize is, this kind of behavior is part of the setup and part of baiting. Again, if somebody is looking for trouble, they are going to find it. And if they don't find it, they're going to create it. And so that's what today's situation was all about. So you all have a good day and stay safe.